My father, when I was young, taught me how to work. I love my father. The wisest man I ever knew was my father. And I do appreciate the fact that he taught me how to work, because he did. But as a small child, whenever my father would walk, he would always walk in front of me and faster than me. It wouldn't matter how fast I walked, he'd walk faster, because he was teaching me how to walk fast. That's who he was. And I remember when I was 12 years old, we were building a used car lot in Lebanon, and they wanted to asphalt, blacktop the lot, and wanted to match it up to Route 422. So there was a section of about 150 or 200 feet where we needed to cut the asphalt in a straight line to match it to the new asphalt that would be coming up to the highway. And so that was one of my jobs that summer. So my dad put a chalk string line there on the blacktop the whole distance, and then he gave me a circular saw like this, and he said, "Get at it." And so they had carborundum blades in there that you have to replace, and it was a slow process because the asphalt was thick. And so my dad left, and I'm up there with a saw, and I'm sitting on Route 422 with this saw, just inching my way up through as it goes. Dust everywhere. My dad came back to get me for lunch, and I was sitting with the saw, because I still remember the feeling. You just keep inching yourself up as you went, because it was very slow. And my dad saw me, and he came over and he said, "Tom, in the future, if you ever have the choice between sitting and kneeling, kneel. If you ever have the choice between kneeling and standing, stand. If you ever have the choice between standing and walking, walk. And if you ever have the chance of walking or running, run." Now, that was my father, and he taught me how to work. And I know in the years ahead, as I employed people, and I'd take them through the building the first time, and they walked slow, I'd walk fast, because I'd make them catch up to me, because I was trying to make them learn how to work and run fast. Now, here's my point. Do you think I didn't carry that into my relationship with God? How could I not? Run, Tommy, run. Faster, Tommy, faster. Your approval, your acceptance by God is based on how fast you run, Tom, how fast you run. Folks, that has to die. And some of you, that has to die. So, I need to constantly work at just sitting and resting with the Lord, and being willing to watch other people sit and rest with the Lord. You know, you might be saying, "Okay, Tom, you've talked a lot about good works, but what about sin? What about this whole sin issue in this? He loves me even when I sin?" Well, let's talk about that. Do good works have earthly consequences? Yes, they do. Many times very good. Do they affect God's love for you? No. The amount of good works you do don't affect God's love. It doesn't budge His love for you. Does sin have earthly consequences? Yes. Yeah, you can't sin and get away with it. But does your sin affect God's love for you? No, it doesn't. Why? You know, I've said this before. People think that when they sin, God gets mad at you. When you sin as a Christian, He doesn't get mad at you. That wrath has been appeased at the cross. There is no anger toward you ever again. When you sin, it hurts Him because He knows what that sin is going to cost you. He knows. There may be times that you sin, you do something, you make a little compromise, and it's just a little thing to you. But God knows exactly what that's going to cost you, and that little thing has huge ramifications. Now you won't meet the guy, the girl that He wanted you to. You won't have the children that He wanted you to have. All because of that one choice. See, we'd have to guess at that. He knows exactly what that's going to cost you. And that's why it hurts Him. It doesn't make Him angry, but it hurts Him. So do we get away with sin? Never. There are always, always, always consequences to sin. But it does not budge His love for you. Why? Because Jesus is seated in heaven, resting from His finished redemptive work on the cross, And Ephesians 2:6 says that in mirror fashion, you are seated in heaven with Jesus, also resting in his finished redemptive work on the cross on your behalf.
You don't want to miss next week.